over me. Run through the land, you run through my soul. Bring me wisdom and peace. Run through all ages and all of life's stages. You bring me around to find my release.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have Sue S.M. Stevens, and she is the author of Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. Now, I haven't read it yet, okay, but it looks absolutely fantastic. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you.
What made you want to think of S.M. Stevens?
Well, I decided to take a page from J.K. Rowling's book. I figured if it was good enough for her to use gender-neutral initials, I would do it too.
That's a pretty good idea. Now, this one is your latest book, okay. What is it about? Since I haven't read it yet, give us an idea what it's about.
Sure. So it's contemporary fiction, and it actually falls into this new genre called New Adult, which is in between young adult for teens and general adult. But really, I think people from teens up to any age would enjoy it. It is a Me Too novel, so to speak, so it is tied into this current trend of Me Too and trying to make some inroads against workplace sexual harassment and other forms of sexual harassment. So there are some heavy themes, but it's the story of two young women, Shelby and Astrid, and they are both starting out their careers after graduating from college in 1980s Boston. And they work together. They're enemies at first, but they eventually become friends. And they both have some personal demons that haunt them. For Shelby, she remembers long repressed memories of incest as a child at the hands of her stepfather, and she pushes that away. She says it wasn't a big deal, it didn't bother, it didn't affect me, and she just tries to push it away. As you might imagine, that doesn't work out so well for her. Then we have Astrid, and she's a very confident, ambitious young woman. This is in the 1980s, so workplaces were a bit different, and she was not against a little flirting here and there.
I see that,
Yeah. So, and that sort of takes her down a dangerous path. Because her boss goes too far with it, and she actually finds not only her job but also her safety at risk. And so the two women don't talk about this together for a long time because people often didn't back then.
Right.
But eventually they help each other deal with these demons, so to speak.
So do you know of people close to you, friends, family, who've been through that type of thing, harassment?
I do, and I think every woman and really many people too do know someone. I just saw an amazing statistic from a group called Stop Street Harassment, and they found that more than 80% of women have experienced some kind of harassment, and 40-something% of men have also experienced some form of harassment.
Yeah, that includes everything from incest, you name it, the boss, everything.
To verbal harassment, to yes,
emotional. That, I know back when I was doing my corporate executive secretary thing in the 70s and 80s, I can remember, but I knew enough to steer clear of it. I have radar, and I could pick it up if a guy who worked in the same corporation was, I'd be like, just how you doing, and then just keep walking. I didn't fall for it. Some girls really do.
And it's amazing, and it's not necessarily a generational thing. You're absolutely right, because I just found out from my own mother that there was somebody she worked with. She was a reporter.
Yeah.
So imagine this was in the 50s. And, there weren't that many female reporters, and she was definitely in a male-dominated world. And there was a gentleman she worked with who a few times made advances. And I was so proud of her. She told me that she stood up to him.
Yeah.
But a lot of women wouldn't have.
Wait, in the 50s? That would be unusual.
Yes, I was amazed and very proud of her for that.
Now, this is interesting, because Sue's daughter, right? She drew your cover.
She did. That was an unexpected pleasure. We had no idea that would happen, but when it came time to discuss cover ideas with the publisher, they said, well, what are you looking for? And I tried a few things, and I thought, I don't know how I capture it in a picture or two.
That's the trouble. If you're working with a publisher, basically, you can't. I always say, self-publish it. Then you get to do everything your way.
Right.
You even got a picture down here of yourself, which is always terrific.
Yeah.
When I read a book, I always look on the back to see if I can picture who the author is, where they're from. She lives in Massachusetts. Now, when did you begin reading it? When did you writing it?
Well, there's a bit of history to it, but essentially this version of it I started in early 2018. The Me Too movement really kicked off in earnest toward the end of 2017,
Yeah.
and that's what got me thinking and what made me pick up an old manuscript actually and turn it into this.
And that, what's the horseshoes and hand grenades mean in the book?
So that refers to a saying that you may have heard. People will say almost only counts in horseshoes and in hand grenades.
What's it called?
Almost only counts in
Almost
horseshoes,
okay.
right? So you know in horseshoes,
Yeah.
if you almost get a ringer, you do
Yeah.
get points.
Okay.
And if you're almost hit by a hand grenade, you're hit by a hand grenade.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lovely saying, but and some people also they use the version close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So the point of the book is that sometimes almost counts in other situations too. So the Shelby character that I mentioned, she tends to discount her own incest experience, saying it wasn't that bad, it wasn't full-on rape, but the fact is it was something and it mattered. It crossed the line and it did affect her.
This is fantastic. Now, this is available where? How can they get a hold of your copy?
Well, it's available almost anywhere that you would look for books. So it's certainly online at barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. It's also available in some local bookstores and libraries. And the thing to do there is if you go into your local shop or library, just ask them if they have it. And if they don't, they can certainly order it for you. And I would appreciate that.
Horseshoes and hand grenades. After suffering harassment and abuse at the hands of others, two women fight to reclaim their careers, romances, and lives. Now, I can't wait to read this. I hope you get more copies coming out sooner. Jeez.
Yes, you can get them on Amazon now. You
Yeah.
can get them quickly. If you're waiting for a big shipment, you might be waiting for a little while.
I might be waiting for a little while. Now, your other book. Show us the other books that you have written.
Sure, okay. So this one is Shannon's Odyssey.
Hold it up a little bit so that
here?
they
Okay.
can get it. See it.
And this is for middle grade students. It's about a 12-year-old girl who is quite spunky and decides that she needs to find her long-lost grandmother. So she treks through the woods on her own for about a week. And on the way, she has lots of good and bad encounters, but she uncovers some secrets about herself and about her family.
See this. Shannon's out. Now, when did you write this?
This one was a few years ago. Yes, I actually wrote that. I've had some crazy health issues over the years,
Yeah.
and they've contributed to my fiction writing career. So for this one, I had actually broken my pelvis in 3 places.
My mother did, and she had to have surgery and have a brace on. Did you have to wear the
I
brace?
did not have surgery. I did not need surgery, but I had to be on crutches for 3 months.
You didn't have surgery?
No.
She was basically immobile. Well,
Yeah.
of course, she was in her, early 80s. But so how did you... She sneezed and fractured her pelvis.
Oh,
That
geez.
must be osteo in the extreme. But how did you do it?
I was riding my horse, and I was thrown off when he was running.
How long
So
ago?
I hit the pavement at high speed.
When did this happen?
This was in 2009. And but hey, I didn't have a neck or a spinal injury. I was very lucky. But I couldn't, for 3 months, I couldn't drive. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't show for my kids to their activities. I couldn't even walk my dogs.
Yeah.
So I decided to write a book.
She was in pain. I remember. I think she used a walker. But you could just tell. And she hated that brace they
Oh,
put
I
her
bet.
on. All under here. Absolutely hated. She was a free spirit. It was like her life came to a screeching halt because she'd be walking and everything. She sneezed and fractured her pelvis.
Oh, yeah,
I mean-
being bedridden for 3 months is not all it's cracked up to be. For a few days, you're like, this is great. I don't have to do anything. No chores, nothing.
Yeah.
And then you go stir
You
crazy.
get bored. Yeah, you get bored. What hospital did you go to?
UMass.
Yeah. Now they didn't live near us. We're lucky up here with UMass. They lived further down to the South Shore. My father got her into the New England Baptist. They're very renowned for their orthopedic stuff.
Okay.
Not religious stuff, but the orthopedic. And he fought the insurance company and said, "Yes, you can," and they did.
Good.
They got her in there. If they lived up here, we would have probably sent him over here to UMass. Now you have another one. She's got another coming up. Hit players, has-been actors, and other poseurs.
Yes, and that came about during my second health crisis. Just about a year to the day after the riding accident, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And again, I'm lucky because here I am 9 years later.
Yeah.
But I had surgery and chemotherapy for that, which went on for about 5 months. So I decided to write another book.
You wrote this during chemo?
Yes, I was too tired to do much else in the later parts of the treatment. So I wrote, and I would be in there in the hospital on my laptop while I had my IV in for 8 hours, and I
Girl,
wrote.
you're amazing. This is a must-read for fans of Glee, High School Musical, and Twilight. So now, okay, with everything falling apart, can the cast even pull off the show? So this is a good read. Sort of like a mystery a little bit.
There's a little mystery in all three. There were 3 books in the Bit Players series.
Oh, well, let's see those
And-
two. Wait a minute, is that the same book?
Yeah, no, they're different. So it's a 3-part series
So
right now.
this is the first?
That's the first one,
This is the second. It's Continuing Adventures.
right? So Bit Players, Bullies, and Righteous Rebels. So that
Yeah.
one has a bullying theme, as you can guess.
Yeah.
And then the third is Bit Players, Bird Girls, and Fake Breakups.
The third
and
one.
Seussical fans will recognize the reference to Bird Girls.
Seussical, definitely. Yeah, I love the colors. Did you do all these covers?
I put them together. I didn't take the
Good.
photos.
All right, that's great. Now this one, oh my, at least Sadie has theater to keep her sane. My mother was into theater, and that's how she met my father. They were in English class at Emerson. That's a big broadcasting type of
Yeah.
school. Dad was going into radio, and I remember when I was about in elementary school. We had a big basement with a stage, and so we decided to put on, the neighbor kids and I, Sound and Music. And
Great.
Mom directed it. That was natural for her. She liked it, but then she gave it all up when she married Dad.
Oh,
He basically said, it's either going to be your career or me. So that meant the family first, and then, but I think she would have been really great.
yeah.
Of course, he continued in the radio, but, Now, tell me, you've been through one hell of a lot. Now, that was the second situation. What was the third?
Then it wasn't even a year later after the diagnosis of cancer that I was driving into Boston on the Mass Pike, and there was a huge traffic jam, and so I had stopped to 0 miles per hour, and the woman behind me didn't stop at all. She didn't see the traffic jam, and so she hit me at 70 miles per hour, and she pushed me across all 3 lanes of the Mass Turnpike down a little embankment, and again, very lucky or blessed, because I had some injuries, but I essentially was able to walk away
So that
from
was
it.
barely a year after the ovarian cancer.
But everything's been good since. Knock on wood.
Nothing more. That's it. Things come in threes. This is
Right,
it. This
right.
has got to be it.
That's why when the third one happened, I'm like, okay, at least I'm done now.
We're done now.
Yeah.
Now your daughter is 21, and I have a son in that age group. What does she think of your writing?
Well, I have 2 daughters, 21 and 24,
Yeah.
and they're both wonderful. They're really, really supportive.
Yeah.
So Natalie has done some of the illustrations, like I said, and she did illustrate Shannon's Odyssey.
She did
as
that
well.
one?
Yep, she did that one for
As
me.
well as this one.
She did, yes.
Hey, Shannon, you're great.
And she also helped me with some of the ideas. So for this one, as I mentioned, it was I picked up an old manuscript, and in the original one, it was just about the incest theme, and I couldn't get anywhere with that one. Like I said, it wasn't that good anyway. And then the Me Too thing started, and the idea for this book actually came about because I was watching all the news coverage, and it was hitting me. I was kind of fascinated that people were asking the same questions of workplace harassment victims that they often
Right.
ask of sexual harassment or incest
Yeah.
victims. Things like, well, was it really that bad? And why didn't you say something sooner? Why did you wait so long? And if you're saying something now, what's your ulterior motive? And I thought, somebody needs to answer those questions. Somebody needs to help bring people that don't understand that into the mindset of the victims so they can hopefully understand why people don't speak up. And so I went to my daughter, I went to Natalie, and I said, would it be too much to have this one character, Shelby, go through both of these experiences?
Yeah.
And she's the one that said, introduce a second narrator, have a dual narrative. That stuff works great. And so she helped me with that. And then my other daughter, Gabby, was one of my editors. She was early on a proofer. I edit her work too,
Yeah.
because she runs a travel blog.
Yeah.
So she was a very good editor. Gave me great suggestions.
We are talking with S.M. Stevens, Sue Stevens, and she's the author of Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. This is her recent book. So again, Sue, where can they get this?
So the book is available online through retailers like Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And you can also get an ebook version, so that's through all of the platforms that offer ebooks, including Google Play. You can ask at your local bookstore or library, and any of this information can be found on my website, which is www.authorsmstevens.com.
Now, on October 26th, that's Saturday, noon to 4 p.m., you're going to be signing at Barnes & Noble in Leominster at 120 Water Tower Plaza. Okay. Then on November 2nd, you're going to be over in Rutland on Main Street, 280 Main Street, the author book fair. Very good, 10 to 1. That's a short book fair. How many other authors are going to be there?
A lot. I think they're
Really?
up to 17 local authors, and they're going to have all kinds of raffles and giveaways.
I wish you and I had met sooner because I've scheduled a lot of my authors. They have that Rhode Island Authors Expo in December. They're like couple hundred.
Really?
It's a huge ballroom. Oh, fantastic. Then on Thursday, November 7th, you're going to be reading at Boylston Public Library, 695 Main Street, 6:30 p.m. Saturday, November 16th. Oh, I know her. Book signing at Annie's Bookshop.
Okay.
Stop at 65 James Street, Worcester. It's little, but it's a good shop. She's really cool.
They're great people.
So many authors go. Thursday, January 2nd. We're already into the next year.
I know.
6:30, author reading at Bigelow. I know where this is. Bigelow Free Public Library, 54 Walnut Street in Clinton. I used to visit there on my way to Lancaster to visit my son in his school. I can't miss a library. I would stop there. Also, I think Lancaster. It's a good library. It's a good. So are these are the ones coming up?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Where else have you been? Have you been to Tatnook? Have you been to Book Lovers Gourmet?
I have not. I've sent information to Tatnook. I haven't actually connected with them yet to see if we can do something.
Yeah. Sometimes, I know how to get in touch with the events planner. I mean, it's tough. She's really got a lot. The Book Lovers Gourmet is up in Webster, and the woman who runs that is absolutely wonderful.
Okay.
And she loves authors, and it's the cutest bookstore. I mean, it's very popular. Now, what's coming next, S.M. Stevens? So what's coming next after this?
Well, I am not writing something at the moment, much as I would love to be, but promoting a book takes a lot of time, and I do have a day job.
What do you do?
I do marketing mostly for solar companies.
For what?
Solar energy companies.
Solar energy. Boy, that's big.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I love it. I was in-house for a while at New England Clean Energy.
Yeah.
Plug to them because they're an excellent company. They're in Hudson.
Yeah.
But about a year ago, I started working on my own freelancing, and it's great.
Do they let you work from home?
I do. I work from home.
That is paradise. Boy, when I was back working in companies, and that I would have just heard of. But now I would really go for it. I'd say, I'll work at home.
Right.
I don't need you around me. I could do this on my own.
Right, as long as you can. Some people can't, but I have no problem.
I have no problem.
I love it.
I think it's motivation. A lot of people are not, and they get distracted too easy at home. If I have to work 2 or 3 hours straight and then go play,
right,
then I'm okay.
I'm very good at putting the blinders on to the point where my family will be like, Mom, hello.
Well, you wrote one of your books in the hospital with your laptop, right? What did you have a roommate? I mean, what did she think of it?
No, they don't. These days for chemo, you're in your own little section.
You have your own section,
yeah, which I think is not actually always great. Everything I'd seen in the movies, it was a room full of people, and you built some camaraderie with your fellow patients. And
so were you staying overnight?
No, I would just go into UMass for the day.
Okay, I have a friend who goes up to Dana-Farber, and we're lucky to have them up the street. They are also in touch with UMass, because her surgeon is through UMass, and of course Bill Ferd up the street. There's a hospital in Clinton that's part of UMass too,
yes.
I think.
Yeah, Clinton Hospital.
Have you been there?
I have on occasion, and they've been great.
They're good. They're really good. Oh boy, we're talking with S.M. Stevens, Sue Stevens, and she's the author of Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. Now, if you were going to write a new one, would it be following up on this?
I'm not planning a follow-up, although several people that have read it have said, we want to know what happens next in their lives.
Sure.
So who knows, if there's enough demand, I would go back to the characters. I really love the characters. But yeah, I'm thinking something new, and I'm not sure what, but there are all kinds of themes out there these days that bear writing about.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's transgender rights, and there's
fantasy is big with the
fantasy,
kids.
Yep. Depression issues, mental health issues, all of a sudden are finally getting some attention. So there's all kinds of interesting topics to dig into.
The guests that I've had through the years, I mean, it has ranged that type of thing from mental health to, somebody who writes pure fantasy. And then, of course, medical things.
And poets. I know you have my friend Susan Roney O'Brien on the show.
Poets, right. Yeah. Do you know Lisa Shea at all?
No.
No, okay. Lisa has written, 300, 350, almost 400 books. I don't know how she does it. No, I mean, if you met her, you just seems like the most nice, ordinary person. I don't know how she does it. She was sitting right there, and we had an idea one day, and she just took it, wrote the book in one night.
Okay.
I don't know how she does it. No. I don't think I could even do that at all. So now, are these places coming up that we talked about, are those the first places with this book that you've been appearing?
Yes, it just was released on September 27th.
Okay.
And so, yes, I've just started doing some promotion for it.
Now, if somebody wants you to come speak, how would they reach you?
Easiest way to reach me is through the website. Again, it's authorsmstevens.com, and there's a contact form on the website, as well as a list of the upcoming events if you want to check any of those.
What's your favorite? The libraries or the bookstores, cafes? There's all kinds of places.
Yeah, there are. I think libraries will probably be the best because you know the people there are interested in books for books' sake. Whereas in the bookstores, you get all kinds, right? And the bookstores are also different these days. A lot of them are fast-paced, and you don't really get to engage very much. In fact, the Barnes & Noble reading, I asked them, I said, do you want a reading and some Q&A, which is usually what's done? And they said, the store's too crowded and we're too busy to even do that.
That's why Tatnock up the street in Westboro, good bet. I send a lot of my authors there. They have a nice big room in the back. You can sit up there, give a presentation, or if you're more comfortable, you can sit up towards the front at a table and let people walk by and meet you. I mean, it's good for either personality. Somebody who isn't that great at, they can just sit there and they hire you and this type of thing. But cafes, that's an amazing thing for me now. I think that I'm finding more and more cafes are listing under books here too, and they'll have an author there while people coming in for coffee. They're really enjoying it. Senior centers, you wouldn't think so. For a lot of different genres in the books, the senior centers are really good. And of course, holiday fairs and festivals and that type of thing, a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And I tell the authors, I said, if you don't sell a book that day, don't worry about it. Make sure you get somebody with you. Take your business cards, take your book, and have them sit there and write in the store. You walk around, meet the other authors, because one or two of those other authors may have a gig for you.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
That's really good advice.
Oh, that's worth selling 10 books, if not more, because they was, oh, good, I want to get in on this too. All is not lost. It really isn't.
And bloggers are great now. There are so many book review bloggers that will help promote things.
Yeah, I don't read them. I'm not big on that. I'd rather meet someone in person, right? Meet them in person, then maybe read about it online. There's something about the face-to-face.
I agree.
Right, face-to-face, and people get to know the author, and they say, gee, I really want that book, because she sounds really cool. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Stay healthy, will you?
I'm healthy. I've been healthy for a long time now.
Nice. Say hi to Clinton in the library.
All right.
All right, don't forget, by S.M. Stevens, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. Okay. After suffering harassment and abuse at the hands of others, two women fight to reclaim their careers, romances, and their lives. Fantastic. All right. See you next time and be my guest.